Hey there, I'm Kyler, one of the pastors at Liquid Church, and today we're tackling one of the most frequently asked faith questions. Did Jesus have brothers? In order to find out the answer, we have to turn to the Bible, which includes detailed accounts of the life of Jesus. Now, get ready to learn some Greek, because ultimately the answer comes down to your interpretation of one word in the Bible, and that word is adelphos, which is the Greek word for brother or cousin or other relative. And that's where things get tricky. There's no definitive answer to the question, did Jesus have any brothers? But there are two schools of thought. That's because there are two groups of Christians, Protestants and Catholics. And they agree on a lot of things, like Jesus is the Savior of the world, but they disagree on some things too, like whether Jesus had any siblings. Viewpoint number one, held by most Protestants, is that of course he has siblings. Why is this? Because they interpret the word adelphos to mean brothers, and believe that several verses in the Bible mention Jesus' brothers. The most prominent of these is in Mark 6, verse 3, where the people in Jesus' hometown talk about him like this. They say, "He's just a carpenter, the son of Mary, and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon. And his sisters live right here among us." So, this passage actually names Jesus' brothers. Case closed, right? Not so fast, because maybe those are just the names of his cousins. Remember, it all comes down to the translation. Viewpoint number two, held by Catholics, is that Jesus' mother Mary was a virgin her entire life. Therefore, Jesus couldn't have any brothers or sisters. Their translations of the word adelphos would be a cousin or relative. And they also turn to the Bible to make their case. When we read about Jesus' crucifixion in the Bible, specifically the Gospel of John, it says that Jesus noticed his mother and his disciple John in the crowd and said to them, "Dear woman, here is your son." And he said to this disciple, "Here is your mother." And from then on, this disciple took her into his home. So the argument goes, if Mary had other sons to take care of her, then why would she need to be entrusted to John? And there's several more verses we could use to argue either point, but the truth is, we can't be certain. But to give you some closure, consider what Jesus says in Mark 3, verse 33. "Who is my mother? Who are my brothers? Look," as he points to the people around him, "these are my mother and brothers. Anyone who does God's will is my brother and sister and mother." Which means Jesus' definition of brothers and sisters goes beyond blood relatives. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And keep coming back for more content each week as we tackle the most asked faith questions in New Jersey.